I don't really care what modern scholars say because, like, I'm going to continue to say the term Dark Ages when it comes to the fall of the Western Roman Empire. And here's why. One, it is not a shocker, and it's not like some crazy coincidence that tons of men from the last couple generations consistently remember things from the Roman Empire, and it's because it was the fall. Frankly, I believe that was the fall of the divine masculine counterpart. I believe that's when really there was like a true disconnection between divine masculine and divine feminine counterparts. Please don't come for me with the whole gender thing. That's a societal construct. I love everybody. Like, I'm talking about energies. We are talking about the dualities of both the wounded masculine and the wounded feminine, the divine masculine, the divine feminine energies. That's it, not gender. Anyways, when we look at that and we look at like the coincidental lineup of how so many men are like, oh my gosh, I just can't get it off my mind, or yeah, I think about it all the time. You have to think about the fact that like during the fall of the Western like Roman Empire, there was like purposeful political fragmentation, right? Because that collapse was brutal, and it majority targeted and exploited just regular ass people like, you know, you and I right now. And so there was tons of like rise ups of like smaller unstable kingdoms and principalities. Okay, so it would not shock me that many men today have a kinship or like a lineage or like a karmic debt that is owed and paid to this time specifically in history. Because where there is political fragmentation, you will find soul fragmentation as well. So then we also have to look at like the piece of like feudalism, you know, decentralizing land ownership, loyalties, royalties. We have to look at like how there was like urban areas, highly saturated areas that just totally declined. And then we have to look at like how they purposely did not have a lot of limited or a lot of like written records, right? Like the scarcity of records, which we know that records existed, but for whatever reason, many of them are poof, gone. But what we also don't talk about, which also pisses me off the very most, is that there were tons of barbarian invasions that happened during the Dark Ages, the early Middle Ages, whatever. It was dark. It was dark, and it was dark on purpose, okay? These barbarian invasions, like, genuinely impacted human psyche, and they were never really addressed because there was no type of like medical mental health efficacy. So that breeds into generations afterwards also. But what I find the very most profound is that the spread of Christianity, despite all of those things combined, the spread of Christianity continued. It continued and it flourished, right? And it played like a huge role, the most crucial role ultimately to the Christianization of Europe and honestly the rest of the more modern world. And I say all of this because like right now what we're experiencing on a spiritual level, a collective conscious level, is like the rise of the divine feminine awakening. We are seeing like tons of divine unionships come together. And what happens there is basically like your divine feminines are coming in like deities and goddesses and prophets, the same way that we have seen prophets, disciples, and all of these things show up in, you know, Bibles historically. And they're showing up and they're calling in the divine masculine energy that really fell with the, you know, the Roman Empire, the Western Roman Empire. And so like as we see how the patriarchy has really destabilized our current society, I am really like encouraging divine masculines, men who genuinely have like an intimate connection with their God source, whatever that may be. Like, I really want you to step it the fuck up. It is not enough just for you to exist as a half decent man. You need to be anti-bigotry. You need to be anti-misogyny. You need to be anti-war. You need to be pro-nurturing, pro-decent establishment, pro-government working for people, not vice versa. And this is like this divine masculinity that has to come in pretty quickly because the divine feminines are quite literally exhausted. There will be another fall of our current empire, because that's how dynasties work, and we're experiencing that right now. And it is going to be because men, or people who identify as men in that masculine energy, are not truly divine. They're not in their divinity. And it's because a bunch of you accepted a Christian ideology that told you you were born in sin. Right? Well, guess what? I believe that we were all born of divinity, capable of sin, and also capable of transmuting any and all energies into something more positive. Start looking at everything as energy instead of people. It's crucial for you to change this internalized guilt and shame, because that is a very low frequency. And in order to rise up, okay, to get into a higher frequency, something that is less dense, less depressive, okay, you have to be willing to open concepts in your mind so that you can learn. If you are going to have passion or lust for anything, make it be the human brain. Make it be like the quality of life and the things that it requires. Lust and be passionate over connection and learning and healing. Okay? So I just want to leave some of that shit on y'all. The dark ages were the dark ages on purpose. And we're about to be living through very, very dark ages again. Actually, we genuinely already are. So if you're getting the call, it's time to pick it up.